Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make use of a Visual Studio Code plugin called Code Parrot to convert your Figma designs or screenshots into code. With Code Parrot, you get to speed up your front-end development process by making use of Code Parrot to generate production-ready front-end components from your Figma designs. Before we delve right in, if you are new to this channel, make sure you like as well as subscribe for more awesome content on this YouTube channel. And with that, let's get started with this tutorial. To get started with this tutorial, we're going to create a new React project using Vite. I already have Vite installed in my terminal. If you don't know how to install Vite, all you need to do is just to search for Vite on the browser and then follow the instructions in the documentations. But that is outside the scope of this tutorial. So I'm going to get started by creating a new React project for this tutorial. So to do that, all I need to do is to run npm create Vite at latest and then the name of our project. And I'm going to call this project Code-Parrot. And let's press enter, and we're going to answer some prompts before this project is generated. And the first one is it's asking us to select the framework we want to use for this project, and for us it's going to be React. So I'm going to scroll down and then click enter while on React, and it's asking us also if we want TypeScript for this project. For us, we're going to make use of JavaScript instead of TypeScript. So I'm going to press enter on that as well, and with that we can now cd into our project directory and then run npm install to install all the necessary dependencies, as well as run npm run dev to start the project. So let's take this one step at a time. So the first one is to run cd Code-Parrot, and then we are now in the project directory. So let's run npm install next to install all the necessary packages that is necessary for this project to work. So let's wait for that to get installed. As you can see, the necessary installations are now complete. So to test out this project, if everything is working fine, I'm just going to run npm run dev. Okay, I didn't click on the terminal, so now I can run npm run dev. Then I also want to open the projects in our Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to press enter and wait for that to compile. As you can see, the compilation is complete. So I can just grab this link, which is localhost 5173, and then let's open it up in a new terminal. So I'm going to paste it in the terminal and then press enter. As you can see, we have our React project ready to go, which was created by Vite. What I want to do next is to open up this project in the Visual Studio Code, but for some reason it didn't get open when I added the code dots in the second command. So let's do that again. As you can see, we are now in Visual Studio Code. So the first step I want to take in Visual Studio Code, remember what we are trying to do is to make use of a Visual Studio Code plugin to convert our Figma designs into code. So to do that, the first thing while inside of our Visual Studio Code is to search for this plugin. So all you need to do is to head straight to extensions, and then the name of our plugin is called Code Parrot. So let's search for Code Parrot. As you can see, this is Code Parrot and I already have it installed. If you are coming across Code Parrot AI for the first time, that is, if you don't have it installed already, if you click on install, you need to link it to your Figma project. So you might need to do that, like a pop-up box might come up in your Chrome browser or your Mozilla browser. Then you need to link it to your Figma account. So once you link Code Parrot AI to your Figma account, then you'll be able to make use of Code Parrot within your Visual Studio Code. I already went through that process, so I would not be doing that again. But if that's your first time of installing Code Parrot, it's a very easy process to follow. So all you need to do is just to link your Figma project with Code Parrot. So with that done already, the next thing is to select the particular project you want to convert from Figma into code. So to do that, I'm going to select the files. I'm going to close this tab and I'm going to head straight to the app.jsx file. Now, one thing you need to take note of is when you want to make use of Code Parrot, the particular framework or library you want to use needs to be opened. For instance, I have my app.jsx file tab open because I want to convert my Figma design into a React project. If you want to convert it into an Angular project, you need to first open up your Angular project, then click on a file that has the TypeScript extension. That would let Code Parrot know that you want to convert your design into TypeScript. So for us, we want to convert it to a React project. That's why we have app.jsx already opened. So do take note of that. So with that, we can now head straight to Figma. So I'm going to head straight to Figma, and within Figma, if you watch my previous tutorial, you might be familiar with this design which I got from Canva. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link selection for this project. To do that, I'm going to head to the entire project, to the link that selects the entire project, which we can see at the top here. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to hover over the copy/paste as, and I'm going to scroll down to copy link to selection. So just click on that, and with that, we've been able to copy the link to the clipboard. So let's head back to our Visual Studio Code project. So let's open up the Code Parrot extension. To do that, so we can click on the additional views icon we have over here, and as you can see, the list of other extensions already installed on this Visual Studio Code project, and among them is Code Parrot. So all I need to do is to click on Code Parrot, and a new tab gets opened up. So we need to take note of a few things. The first one is, you can see, because I'm using the free version, I have access to 10 sessions, and out of those 10 sessions, I have used 5 already. So to get unlimited amount of session, you need to subscribe. But for this tutorial, all I need to do is just to show you how Code Parrot works. I don't need to have an unlimited number of sessions. And the other thing to take note of is, as you can see, we have React and JavaScript showing among the settings. This is because we already have our JSX file opened, so Code Parrot is able to detect that we are dealing with a React project right here. But in case you want to set it to another language, you can see you have other JavaScript frameworks here, which includes Vue, Angular, Svelte, and the likes, and you can also adjust to TypeScript. These are all libraries and frameworks supported by Code Parrot. But for this tutorial, like I said, we are making use of React, and all I need to do is just to cancel that settings and leave it the way it is currently. So the next thing to do is to click on select from Figma. So the select from Figma, this is where we paste in the code we grabbed from Figma. You can see we have a bit of explanation or a bit of pointer on how to do that in this image below, but we already did that. So all I need to do is just to paste that URL inside this input field. So with that done, then I need to click on submit. Then the UI gets generated for us. That is, the code gets generated for us. We now have different sections from our Figma design. You can see this is a separate section, this is a separate section, this is another section. We have the nav section, and we have the section that consists of the entire design. If you want to do the implementation session by session, all you need to do is just to click on the different sessions, one of the sessions provided for us. So I just want us to get a view of how the entire page will look like. So I'm going to click on the section that contains the entire design of the page, that includes all the sessions, that is the nav bar, the header section, the services section. So let's click on this, and once we click on this, we can click on this message icon, but you can also provide additional instructions. Like you can see, the pointer here is you can provide an option if you want this to be a functional component or things like that. But for me, I'm going to leave it this way, and let's see how it's going to work. So let's click on this icon right here. So the code will get generated for us. So as you can see, the code is getting generated by Code Parrot, and once it's been generated, then we're going to integrate it into our React project and see how it looks. So I'm going to cancel this, and let's scroll up and let's see what Code Parrot has done so far. As you can see, Code Parrot sort of divided the page into different sections. We have the navbar section, the banner section, services, contact, and footer section. I think this is really nice because it kind of creates a sort of separation of concern. As you can see in the app file, the app.js file, we have all the components imported right here. Then you can see for each component the code for each component, that is the navbar, and you can see the classes. You can see for the banner section, you can see the classes as well. Same thing for the services section, and then the contact section, then finally the footer section. I think this is really nice. And as you can see for the CSS, we have the design, the style sheet for each file. That is, the navbar has its own style sheet. Same thing with the banner section having its own style sheets, the services section having its own style sheets, contact section as well as the footer section. So I think this is really nice because it kind of segments each component with its own JSX as well as with its own classes. And the classes, the naming convention, I think is really nice because it's very simple and understandable. For instance, when you look at this contact section, you can see we have a class name of contacts, a class name of contact icon because that's within an image, and then the content, we have contact content. The next step is just to integrate this code that has been generated into our React project. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, I'm going to head back to the Explorer, and then I'm going to create the files for each of these components step by step with no step skipped. So first off, I'm going to close that particular file. And then what I want to do next is to create a component folder. I want to put everything within a component, also within the SRC folder. So all I need to do is just to click on the component, the folder icon, and then type in component. And then within the component, I'm going to create the 5 sessions created by Code Parrot. So we're going to have the first file, which is called the consultation section. But before I proceed, let's be sure, let's have the tab open so we are aware that what we are creating is actually genuine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to open up this file. So let's check the first file generated for us, which is the navbar session. So let's go within the components, and I'm going to create a new file called navbar.jsx. Then next up, let's create another file. This will be called, I think I extended the assets folder. That shouldn't be. So within the components folder, we're going to have a new file called the banner session. So let's do that as well. So we have banner section.jsx. I'm going to close that as well. So the next one is the services section. So within the components, let's have services section.jsx. The next one is contact section. So let's be fast about that. And then finally, we can have the footer section. So we have our 5 sessions ready. So let's close some of the tabs that are not needed. So I think we're good to go. So we can now begin the implementation for each of the sessions. To proceed, I'm going to head back to our app.js file, and I'm going to get rid of the boilerplates we have within this file. So let's get rid of the boilerplate code, and then let's start integrating. So the first thing is I'm going to have a div that has a class of app. So let's create a div, and this is going to have a class name of app. And we need, within this div, I'm going to import each of the components. So all I need to do is probably, I can copy this. So I'm going to copy this. Let's copy everything we have right here and paste it right in. I know we need to import them as well. Let's get rid of this as well. We need to import them. Let's see if IntelliSense can work with this. It doesn't work. I think I know the reason for that, because we haven't input the code inside of each of the components. So let's start with the navbar component. So within the navbar component, let's scroll down, navbar.jsx. So we can just grab everything within the return. So I'm going to grab everything within the return block, and then head straight to navbar.jsx, and let's generate the functional components, and then all I need to do is just to paste it in. So that's for the navbar. So if I head back to app.jsx, I think the installation should work this time around. As you can see, it works, and we're able to import the navbar component. So let's continue in that manner. And before I proceed, let's also import the CSS as well. So we'll have a file called navbar.css. Let's not forget that. So we are done with the navbar.jsx. Now let's move to the next component, which is the banner session. So what I'm going to do is let's grab everything within the return block. So I'm going to grab that and then head straight to the banner session or section rather. And I'm going to type in RAFCE, which allows us to generate a functional component. And then I'm going to paste it right in. And we're not done. We need to copy the import as well. there's an image generated within the assets folder, so we need to grab that as well as the CSS file as well. So I'm going to paste that in after generating both, and then we can now import that within our app.jsx. IntelliSense should work this time around as well. As you can see, we now have our banner section imported as well. I'm going to save that. Then let's head straight to the next components, which is the services section. So within the services section, let's grab everything we have right there. I'm going to copy that and then head to the services section, and then just repeat what we've done with the other components, and then grab the import as well. We have about 3 images to deal with here, including the CSS file. So let's paste that here as well. I'm going to save that, and we need to import the service section as well. So let's import that quickly. So I think we're doing well. And then let's head to the penultimate component, which is the contact section. So within the contact section, I can grab everything we have right here, copy it, head straight to the contact section, and then within the return block, I'm gonna paste it in. We also need to grab the imports as well. So you can see the images are converted into SVG, and they are all located in the assets folder. So let's save that and then import it in the app component.jsx. I believe this is all clear, and everything I'm doing is pretty much straightforward. So I'm gonna close the contact section or the contact components. Finally, let's deal with the footer. So in footer.jsx, we're gonna do what we've done previously. There's nothing difficult about this. Let's grab the imports as well, which is just the footer.css file. So I'm going to copy that, paste that, and then I think we need to import it in the app.js file. So let's save everything we've done so far, and let's close some of the tabs for the components. I think we've made a lot of good progress in the first step towards our implementation, which is to grabbing the JSX. And then the next thing we need to do is just to deal with the CSS files. So in the CSS file, we're going to grab the implementation from Code Parrot. So the first file in the CSS is the app.css. So I think we already have an app.css file. So I'm just going to copy that and then add to our own app.css, get rid of all the CSS we currently have by default, and then paste the one generated by Code Parrot. Then next up, when we scroll down, we have the navbar.css. So I'm going to grab everything in navbar.css. This is a file we haven't created. So we're going to create this within the src directory. So we're going to have a file called navbar.css. So in the navbar.css, I'm going to paste what was generated by Code Parrot. As you can see, we have a class called navbar, navlogo, navlinks. I mean, these are really names that can be used in a production environment. Now, the next one is the banner section.css file. So we haven't created that as well. So let's do that. So within the src folder, let's have a banner section.css. So let's paste that in as well, and let's save. I'm going to close the files, the CSS files we've just implemented, and then let's scroll down again, and then we have the services section.css. So let's create that again. Let's create that CSS file. So it's going to be services section.css. So let's paste that in. I'm going to save and then close the file. Let's head straight to the contact section.css file. So I'm going to copy that, and let's create that file as well. So we have contact section.css, and then let's paste that in. And finally, I think we have the footer to deal with. So we have the footer.css. So let's create that as well. So within the src block, or folder rather, we have the footer.css. I'm going to paste that in as well. So with that, we're good to go. So we've created all the CSS files. I think that is beautiful. So when we scroll to the bottom, I think that's all we need to do. Okay, I think we have some classes for the index.css. Let me compare it to maybe I want to copy this and then replace it with the one generated by Vite. So let's save, and I think we can now attempt to run the code in the compiler. So I think we have an error, or probably let me stop the server, and then let's try running the server to be sure everything is up to date. As you can see, the error warnings have disappeared. Probably while we saved, some errors were there and the server needed to be refreshed. So, and as you can see, this is the results we have. I believe it looks close enough to the Figma design, but you'll always need to make some adjustments. For instance, when you check the design we have over here on Figma, you can see that the color of the button is quite different from the one generated by Code Parrot, and and if you scroll down, you can see the image here is not beside the text, it's on top of the text. So that's part of the adjustment that might need to be made. I mean, it's AI generated code, it can't be 100% perfect. I think it's just a productivity tool that gives you an head start when you are trying to convert your Figma design into code. So with this, you can just make all these minor adjustments. Let's try and check the responsiveness as well. I'm going to click on inspect, and then I'm going to click on the mobile icon. And so this is the responsiveness of the website. Let me refresh to be sure we have the perfect shape for the code generated by Code Parrot. So this is what we have. I think it's still not bad at all. Let's select for probably an iPad. Let's say an iPad Pro. So this is what we have for an iPad Pro, and this is what we have for let's say an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So I think it's responsive enough. When you look at it, it's not bad at all for a head start. You might just want to change some few things. So I think that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, make sure to drop it in the comment section. If you have a specific tutorial you want me to talk about or teach on, you can also drop it in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching this one, and I'll see you again in the next one.